What role did Ken Stokes play in Alex's life? And why is Alex so determined to help him? What will happen to Ken now that he's been fired?
I'm relieved that you finally recognize me. Alex patted Justin's shoulder. Big brother, is it really you? After hugging Alex for a long time, he finally stepped back. The beautiful young women were watching everything. One of them stammered to her friend. I heard something a moment ago. Did you hear him say big brother? Did you hear that? She turned to look at the others and saw that they were as shocked as she was. They had been waiting to have a good laugh at Alex's expense. They didn't dare to think about what they had just done. The thought of it was too alarming. As the two of them chatted about their childhoods, they walked over to Freya and the others. Freya lowered her head and said timidly, I'm sorry, Mr. Ambrose. I was blind. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm sorry too, Mr. Ambrose, another girl said. We were wrong, a few of them cried out in unison. We're so sorry. All 10 girls apologized to Alex. At this moment, Justin remembered all the bad things that the girls had said about Alex. He pointed at the group and said sternly, Do you know who Alex is? Alex relaxed as he watched his brother defend him. When Justin became angry, the girls shuddered. Justin, we were wrong. Please forgive us this once, they cried. Alex looked at the group of girls and said with a smile, Nah, these women are all your girlfriends and they're beautiful. They were just a little rude. The girls were thinking, the older brother Alex seems to know how to be compassionate. One by one, they stood up and walked away with reluctant hearts. How did you become so full of yourself? Oh, right, our family didn't make you go through the poverty test like me. Since Alex had left the family 7 years ago to take the poverty test, he had received no news or updates about his family members. I'm not Alex. I've got no desire to be the head of the family. In fact, when you become the boss in the future, you'll have to take care of me, Justin said to Alex with a cheeky smile. Alex sighed. His little brother hadn't changed at all. He only ever thought about himself. Hey bro, I heard from Uncle Frank that you brought your girlfriend here. Why don't you take me to see my future sister-in-law? Justin said while rubbing his hands. All right. Alex was about to go with Justin to find Debbie when George Ambrose walked over quickly. Alex and Justin, your grandfather's arrived. He's currently at the Seabreeze restaurant. He's waiting to see you, Alex. Grandpa's here. Alex was a little excited. He looked at Justin and said, Let's go see Grandpa together. Justin smiled and said, Alex, you go yourself. It's you that Grandpa really wants to see. Besides, I get to see him all the time. All right, Debbie's in room 304. Go meet her, Alex replied, then followed George toward the Seabreeze restaurant. An elderly but animated and healthy-looking man sat at the wooden table. He was Lincoln Ambrose, the patriarch of the Ambrose family. Behind him stood a man wearing casual clothes. It was Ken Stokes, the boss of the East Coast division of the family business, who had hosted a banquet for Alex at the Plaza Hotel. Lincoln looked at Ken and thought, the Ken Stokes I know was always chattering merrily and was admired by everyone. However, this Ken Stokes is trembling with fear, with beads of sweat running down his forehead. What on earth is wrong with him? Alex was injured in the East Coast area. He was almost killed and I couldn't protect him. I'm ready to accept my punishment. The security department of the Ambrose family was managed independently from the rest of the business. Therefore, even though Ken was the manager of the East Coast division, he had no control over the security team. Ken had only heard about Alex's injuries when Alex was sent to recover on Harmony Island. Many people in the family didn't understand this and held Ken responsible for Alex's injuries. When he had planned this visit to the island, Lincoln had decided to take the opportunity to see Alex and resolve the issues with Ken. Lincoln reassured Ken, Well, it doesn't have much to do with you. After all, it's impossible for you to keep an eye on Alex all the time. However, I can see why the family's upset. The other members of the family might not understand it. Even if they do. Lincoln stopped talking abruptly, suddenly feeling that he had already said too much. As the head of the Ambrose family, only Lincoln could understand how difficult it was to be in charge of such a large clan. But when they thought someone had messed up, everything could quickly fall apart. Even though he knew that the incident wasn't Ken's fault, He also knew that he would have to act in order to maintain order within the family. I agree that someone must take responsibility for this incident. I'm sorry, Ken, but I have to remove you from your position as the head of the East Coast Division. You no longer work for the Ambrose family. Lincoln was very disappointed. He liked and respected Ken, but he felt he had no choice. "What?" cried out Ken. When Lincoln announced the punishment, he was dumbfounded. He had never expected the punishment to be this severe. He had worked for the Ambrose family for 30 years. The family and his work were his whole life. "Sir, please reconsider. Firing me is worse than killing me." "I'm sorry. It is done," Lincoln said in disappointment. He knew that there was nothing he could do. He got up with difficulty and nodded to Lincoln, then turned around and prepared to leave. Around this time, Alex, using his crutches, slowly walked up to the Sea Breeze restaurant. He was surprised to see Ken walking out, looking inconsolable. When he entered the restaurant, Alex saw that his grandfather's dour expression and guessed that Ken had been punished because of what had happened to him. Alex walked over to Lincoln and stood in front of him, leaning on his crutches. "Alex!" exclaimed Lincoln when he saw him. He had not seen him for 7 years and became emotional. He stood up and wanted to take a good look at his grandson. "Grandpa, please take back Mr. Stokes' punishment." "Oh." Lincoln was impressed with Alex. After not seeing him for 7 years, the first thing he did was to plead for one of his subordinates. "Aren't you going to ask what punishment I gave him?" he asked his grandson. "No matter what the penalty is, even if it's only $10, please take it back. It's not Mr. Stokes' fault." Alex was determined to defend Ken Stokes.
How will Alex's intervention affect his relationship with his grandfather? How will Justin's girlfriends react when they find out that Alex has intervened on Ken Stokes' behalf?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.